There are so many qualities from verses 13 onwards. By categorizing them, I saw how there are qualities which shows that how a devotee relates with others. And there are other qualities which shows that how a devotee responds to life's ups and downs. And how a devotee lives in this world. What is their attitude towards life? And what is their attitude towards their spiritual practice? And what is their connection with Krishna? So in these ways we could classify those qualities that Krishna mentions between verses 13 to 20. Purity of heart, Krishna says how a devotee relates to others is non-envious. That's the first quality he says. A devotee is non-envious because envy is very hard. It saps all the energy away from us. It makes us very bitter. It makes us actually cruel, heartless eventually. And we can drag one to any extent. So that's why Krishna is saying, if a good, like he's saying of a perfect devotee, he's giving us who is a perfect devotee. So he says that person is non-envious. Yeah, and because they are not envious, they can be kind to everyone. So it's not possible to be kind to everyone if we have envy in the heart. And they're free from hatred. They don't hate people. And that's another reason they does not harm others, because they don't have hate, they don't harm others. They don't envy, so they don't harm others. And they're equal to friends and enemies. Sometimes people are favorable, people are not favorable to us. Still, he treats them all nicely, does not disturbs others by their behavior, and does not get disturbed by others' behavior also. Even if somebody is doing something, they won't get disturbed by it. They see for what it is and they go about. They're very tolerant. Even if other people sometimes cause some disturbance, they're very tolerant. They're pure at heart, purity of thought externally, internally, and also expert in dealings with others and in the world in general. So, in this way, because they're not caught up because of their envy and hatred, they can utilize their intelligence expertly to navigate life situations better with others and in general. So, this is, I'm trying to, like, say, pure and expert can have multiple explanations. I'm trying to fit it into this category, but it can be seen pure and expert in trying to deal with situations in this world also. So this expert quality can go into everything. Is an expert devotee or an expert in living in this world or in relating to situations anyway, but I'm trying to put it in the purity of heart and a perfect. And Krishna says, if you notice that in all of these verses, Krishna says such a devotee is dear to me, such a devotee is dear to me, such a devotee is dear to me. He continues to say from verse 13 onwards till 20 how a devotee responds to life's ups and downs. Believe me, who does not go through ups and downs? Even if you are the greatest personality, lives will have ups and downs. We often ask this question like, why do bad things happen to good people? There are two assumptions here, that I am good and anything happening, like this thing happening in my life is bad. There are two big assumptions here. The first biggest assumption is I am good. It's a very questionable assumption. So the question is, what Bhagavatam is showing is, how do good people respond to bad situations? That's what Bhagavatam is showing. Okay, how did Kunti respond? How did Parikshit respond? How did Chitraketu respond? How did Ambarish respond? How did Prithu respond? How did Dhruva respond? Like, how do good people respond to bad situations? And that's what Gita, like Bhagavatam is saying. Indirectly, it's saying, if you really think good, can you match this template? So it's an indirect way of saying that. So we all go through ups and downs. But here Krishna is saying, a really good devotee, how does he respond? So he is equal in happiness and distress. He's not overly elated, just things that, oh, so much happy that they achieved one small thing and they forget everything that's going to come in life. And they're so floating that they completely become lazy. Or they're so distressed that one thing did not go according to their plan, a simple thing, and it has broken them so much, they become depressed. So they're not in this extreme or in that extreme. And also there is fear and anxiety in this world because there are so many unexpected things. Sometimes it will produce some fear and anxiety, but they're steady. They hold on to their bhakti. They have faith. I'll do my best and Krishna will, everything will come by Krishna's grace. Krishna will not let me go. So that steadiness in fear and anxiety and free from agitation due to heat, cold, honor, dishonor, fame, infame. Yeah, it's as part of living in this world. Sometimes there will be honor, there's sometimes there will be someone will say something which is not matching to how we would like to see ourselves. So we may have a higher estimation of ourselves, but people may not have the same. And also If you live in New York City, yeah, in the morning it rains, in the afternoon it's warm, and in the night evening it's cold. So we also have to tolerate and go about it. Of course, we don't have an option, but sometimes we may just what do you call? We may actually hate it. We may actually resent it, like that. So as long as it is not distracting us from our life, it should be okay. We may feel some inconvenience, but we go about our life. And fame and infamy also. Sometimes we are liked by people and they say, "Oh, you're great," and sometimes they say, "Oh, they don't like us." So all kinds of things comes. We all experience in life. We are not too much agitated and does not rejoice or grieve. It's very similar to equal in happiness and distress. Lament or desire is also very similar. And renounces both auspicious and inauspicious results. Means renounces means it's not like taking, okay, I am the sole reason for this amazing thing. And anything which is not good, I distance myself. Like we tend to take good as like they say, right? When something good happens, it's me. And when something bad happens, why did God do this to me? So God comes into picture when something goes wrong. When everything is going well, I'm like, you see how great I am. Like I did this. We hardly say God did this to through me or anything. But the moment people, so many times we see when things are like when there is something very bad in their lives, they say, why did God this to me? Why is God merciless? I was recently sharing this example of Arthur Ashe, this famous badminton player. He had a heart issue, so he got a blood transfusion. And in that process, he got contracted by the HIV/AIDS disease. And everybody was so distraught. And the fans asked him, why did God do this to you? Why did God, now why you? Why did God choose you for this? So then he said, oh, there are millions of people who want to play badminton. That's hardly 5 million people who get trained properly. And in that, 5,000 people become in a particular, like internationally qualified to play in international matches. And in that, 500 come for Wimbledon, 50 come for, so Grand Slam 500, Wimbledon maybe 50. And only two people come to the finals, and one person gets to hold the cup. And I was that person. I didn't ask that moment, why me? I happily held that cup proudly. And if this comes to me, that's fine. I don't want to ask why me. Rather, it's all God's mercy. God has chosen me for this. There must be a reason. So he responded very gracefully. So it needs a consciousness to respond gracefully to life's ups and downs. And simple living in general, they're very self controlled, they're content, they're just happy, not dependent on material routines. Sometimes things may go this way, that way, they're okay, and not attached to results. They do their best. They do their best for the pleasure of Krishna and in the service of others, but they're not attached to the results. And they doesn't care for residence or comforts. Whatever comes in the natural course of life, they accept it, satisfied with anything, free from worries and needs. So this is also an attitude of a devotee. Determined effort. Just because they actually are simple and detached, that does not mean they don't have determination. Yes, Purva? Okay. They are discussing the qualities of a yogi. To be technically right, they're speaking about an Ashtanga yogi who has perfected through the process of Ashtanga yoga what is his consciousness. Similar, that's what I'm coming to answer. They're very humbleness and all those qualities will be very similar. But the reason that it could be different in Bhakti Yoga is it is because that personal connection with Krishna that inspires a lot of these qualities. So the flavor can be, there can be more compassion in these qualities. They are more concerned about the world. They are in the world. They are trying to reach out to the world. So the quality of a yogi, sometimes they are secluded from the world. The focus is on liberation. The focus is on personal liberation. But here the focus is on relationship with Krishna. So it's like externally you cannot say the difference, but when you actually deal with the people, the flavor can be slightly different because the process from which they are achieving those results also has an impact to some extent. So if you see again in the chapter 18, again you will see the qualities of a impersonalist. It will also be very similar. It's they also have those qualities that all develops through the spiritual practice, but the flavor will be slightly different because somebody is coming from an impersonal path, somebody is coming from a personal path. So here it's more relationship based with Krishna, so it can be a little bit more compassion and sweetness.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Krishna. Olga, thank you, Purva.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
I was
Krishna.
thinking about what you were saying regarding Krishna saying from 13 onwards that such a person is very dear to me.
Such
You
a
know,
devotee is dear to me.
you know how there are clusters of qualities in each of these verses? I wonder if it is the correct understanding that such a devotee is dear in the case that the said devotee has all the qualities within each given cluster. Meaning, if you have just one, maybe you're not so dear, but if you have all of them in a given verse of these, then you're very dear. And I'm looking at like the purport 215 because Srila Prabhupada says that who's a devotee who's always transcendental to all these disturbances is very dear to Krishna. So it seems like Srila Prabhupada is clustering these together and saying that if you all these disturbances do not apply to you, then you're very dear. Is this the correct understanding, or can you consider yourself dear by just having one of these?
Usually, if you see, you cannot develop these qualities in isolation, pretty much. If you go back and see, none of these qualities can be just developed in isolation. If you develop one, it will lead to the other also. So they're all very organically connected. You cannot be a non-envious person but hate others. It's just does not work like that. So if you're free from hatred, you are also very tolerant. So one leads to the other. It's a thing that as we practice bhakti, it gradually comes, and when it comes in most of all together. But some people may gradually develop, they may be good in something and they may be still working on some qualities as we are progressing in bhakti. But it does not mean like others are not at all dear. Krishna says in the 9th chapter, we are going to discuss this of course in the coming slides, that Krishna says in the 9th chapter, apicharo, even a person with bad behavior, he's still my devotee if he is fixed on devotion to me. However, we see what is the understanding, why he is saying this person is very dear. And there also, he does not compromise on giving mercy to that person who does not have good behavior. So, we will come to discuss that. But my quick answer could be, though some of these could be clustered, but I think in real life, they are all like interconnected. It's not that you are tolerant and self controlled, but you are not like you hate others or something like that. It's to the extent one leads to the other gradually. Does that make sense? Are you satisfied?
It does, but then the question arises of why then does Krishna repeat the same thing at the end of each verse? So it seems like there's
Because he is quoting different qualities. He cannot club all the qualities in one verse, right? There are so many qualities that he wants to take. So he's continuing to say, oh, if my devotee who has these qualities are dear to me, my devotee who has. So the reason that acharyas say, the reason that he keeps saying devotee in everything, because as exactly Purva said in chapter 5, in chapter 6, in chapter 18, you will see these very qualities also ascribed for a yogi, for a jnani, for a karma yogi. So they may think, oh, okay, I can just practice any process and the result is going to be just the same. So that's why Krishna is specifically saying, he's saying when these qualities are coming through the practice of bhakti, and when a devotee specifically has it, he likes those devotees specifically. And we will see that the reason again. I have made slides for answering those very questions. So we will come to that place. There is a reason why he is again saying, taking the word, my devotee is dear to me, my devotee is dear to me. We will come there. But usually he's closing it so that there is no confusion. No one can take it out of context and say there can be people who are normal, who are not devotees, can be sometimes like self-controlled, can be actually detached, can also be steady in fear and anxiety. Even atheistic people can have these kind of qualities. So that's why he does not want us to take it out of context. So he emphasizing in every verse that he's speaking specifically about qualities coming from devotional service of a devotee.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. So simple living we did see, and determined effort, like he is engaged in devotional service with determination, is very silent. Prabhupada in the purport says silent means he speaks what is necessary and does not speak unnecessary things that is not connected to Krishna, and steady in knowledge. And he's connected with Krishna with completely fixed his mind and intelligence, and follows the path of bhakti with faith, and also makes Krishna the supreme goal. So these are the 5 different dimensions of a dear devotee that Krishna is explaining in these verses. And that's why, again, I also retained the word dear devotee in the title. So that's what Krishna kept using in those every verse. And we will see the reason in the coming slides. The same 13 to 12, we could see it in a different perspective. That devotion in action, actually, because I can say, call myself a great devotee, but how would you know, experience my devotion? Through how I behave, actually. So it is very important when we think, oh, I'm like a devotee means it's all about my chanting and me and Krishna, and it's all about not emotions and feelings. It also, our behavior needs to reflect our devotion. So how we connect with Krishna, how we connect with people, how we connect with situations, how we respond to situations, respond to people, and respond to Krishna. That is devotion in action. The responses to Krishna can be that we are determined in our devotion service. We take our connection with Krishna seriously. We try to fix our mind and intelligence. We try to follow the path with faith and also with determination, and making Krishna the supreme goal. So this is how we respond. Even when life throws us difficulties, we try to be fixed in our connection with Krishna. And with other people, we try to be non-envious, we try to be kind. This is how we respond to other people. We don't become disturbed, we don't disturb others, we treat people equally, and feel from, we don't to hate, or in this way we respond to people. And also situations, we're equal, we're trying to be equipoised. So this whole thing I summarized in this particular one more slide that's going to come. That's, I guess, I should have put it here. No, my God, why did I put it so back? True devotee is equipoised in situations, kind to people, and surrendered to Krishna. So this is devotion in action. That we are in general cool in situations, in good or bad, kind to people, and surrendered to Krishna. So let me just pull this slide back. Okay, where am I? Okay. So in general, summarizing this, as we saw, a good devotee is equipoised in situations, kind to people, and surrendered to Krishna. And it's a journey. We don't need to be too hard on ourselves. At the same time, we don't need to see, because I'm a devotee, I can do any damn thing. That's also not true. And that is why we discuss that devotion and virtues are 2 different things. Sometimes people say, oh, sometimes people who are not devotees have good qualities, but devotees sometimes seem to be like, not, they don't match our expectation of how one devotee should behave. So this is also from Chaitanya Prabhu. So if you consider devotion as y-axis and virtues as x-axis, so here in this axis, some people don't have no virtues, no devotion. So then they are almost an antisocial element. They are a disturbance to the society, humbly saying that. So yeah, they can cause a lot of disturbance to the society. And there are other people who have virtues but no devotion. So it's very unsustainable. When it is comfortable for them, probably in their Instagram feed, Facebook feed, they show all their virtues, and behind the camera they may not be there. So it's highly possible. But even if they are really fixed in their virtues, still, because it is not based on devotion, some selfish motive can actually shake it off. So it is sometimes unsustainable. And the next category is devotion is there but no virtues. So that's also very problematic, especially in public influence. If a devotee is a big devotee, I don't know what do you mean by that. Like good devotee and a big devotee, there are 2 different things. Sometimes there are big devotees, if they don't have virtues, then it becomes a problem. We see sometimes, I think we had a big thing in India. There was a temple president who behaved in an immoral way. Then it became like a big news, because he's a big devotee, he's in an official position, and then he does something, a misconduct. Then people actually point it out. Oh, how can a leader of your society can actually behave in this way? Then what kind of a society you are, blah blah blah, all those things. So then that's why it is very, these devotees can become liability for Krishna. If they have devotion, so he cannot neglect them, but they don't have good virtues, so then they become a headache, they become a liability for Krishna. But the best is both we develop virtues and we also have devotion. So this is ideal, and that's why Krishna is saying these are most dear, because they can actually help Krishna spread his teachings also. We will come to that. So this is a natural question. Do I need to fix myself before I can fully love Krishna, or will loving Krishna fix me along the way? How many of you think is a relevant question? Have you ever thought about this? Yes, Chakresh.
I'm just saying that I think it is.
Is it?
I think it is a relevant question.
It is a relevant question. Thank you, Chakresh. Yeah, many times we think, oh, even non-devotees have good qualities, and we think if you just be a devotee, all the good qualities will come. So should I develop it or should I wait for it to come naturally? So it's a very often discussed question, and I don't think many people get satisfied by the answers, but we will try. So there is something called as means accepting what is favorable and rejecting what is unfavorable. This is a symptom of surrender. So is being humble favorable to bhakti? So what's the problem in accepting it, in being humble? So is being arrogant and unfavorable to bhakti? Yes. So why not be arrogant? So that's one kind of logic we can use. Krishna?
No, sorry. I didn't mean to raise my hand. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. The other understanding is we see historically Narada Muni, he met a hunter who was half killing animals and letting them actually suffer and die. Narada Muni said, oh my God, even if you want to kill them fully, don't half kill them. And eventually he also told him, just give up all these things and chant. And gradually you will reform your tendency to hurt others. So there, it's not that there is both prescription and diagnosis. The diagnosis is sometimes we are diseased. The prescription is don't eat these foods, don't do these things. So if someone has diabetes, so then naturally the diagnosis is, yeah, you have diabetes, and the prescription is, of course, you get medicines, but you also get a diet. Don't eat this, don't do this. So similarly, there are certain things favorable for bhakti. So it's better that we naturally actually develop those things. So like how Narada Muni advised to Mrigari, he says, don't kill animals, especially don't half kill them. Don't torture other living entities. Your heart you won't be happy. You cannot be really happy by doing that. So he told him not to do, and also he told him to do chanting. And also he asked him to chant Rama, 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 because he could not even chant Rama because he was so sinful. He was told to chant Mara. Mara means death. Okay, you chant death. Rama, it becomes Rama. So eventually. So like that. So there we need to gradually fix ourselves so that we can become close to Krishna. And as we become close to Krishna, we become more and more pure. So we put our effort and Krishna gives this grace. So these two things are not mutually exclusive. It's not by my effort I'll become a perfect devotee, or Krishna will someday will come and tell me in the morning, oh, my dear God, and just wake up. Now you have become a pure devotee. You have achieved all good qualities. No, it's not going to become that one day, one fine morning, Krishna just appears before me and then I become pure. It's a gradual thing. It's both ways. We put our efforts and Krishna gives his grace. And cultivating favorable qualities can help us grow in devotion. So what's the problem? So at the same time, we don't need to go give up our bhakti and think, okay, now I'll be a good person. First I'll become a human being, then I'll become a devotee. No, it's you can continue to practice your bhakti, and through the help of your bhakti, naturally those things will come. Do your endeavor to be good, and naturally bhakti will help you to become better. So you don't need to downgrade your bhakti for the sake of acquiring virtues elsewhere. And people think, if you tell people, oh, I want to do some service, and we tell people, okay, you need to learn this software, they're like, yeah, I'll learn this software, I'll do this, I'll do that. So people immediately want to do service, they learn skills. But if you tell them develop good behaviors, they're like, no, that bhakti will give me naturally. I won't develop good behaviors. Bhakti is supposed to fix me. But we are open to developing skills. But both skills and behaviors are tools for service. Because in this day and age, people just don't care what we believe in. They want to see how we behave actually. So it's very important for us to actually exemplify devotion through our behavior. So that is why it's not that we have to fix or Krishna will fix. It's a combined project. We try to do our best, and when Krishna is pleased with our efforts, he also reduces the influence of passion and ignorance. And the other point that I cannot quote clearly any Shastric evidence, but this is my feeling. That's why did not put it on the slide. Like when we develop modes of goodness, but when Krishna gives, it is mode of pure goodness. It's another level of humility. It's another level of forgiveness. It's another level of when bhakti naturally develops those qualities in us. It's a complete another level. It's mind blowing. Ambarish Maharaj, how can anyone be that forgiving? It's not humanly possible. So it's like a runway. We actually try to keep us in the runway by being in the mode of goodness. Then when we take off, We take off into the sky. We take off into pure mode of goodness. So when by our own effort, we can develop mode of goodness. And when Krishna's grace comes, our flight takes off. Then we are completely in devotional qualities. It's no more artificial. It is our very nature of the soul gets uncovered on that level. So then it is just the nature of the soul by nature is non-envious. The soul by nature does not have hatred in its being. It's such. So that's one other point that I wanted to make. We are determined to complete 12th chapter today. So stay with me for a few more minutes, though I need to jump on to another call at 10:30. There's hardly anything to continue for the next week. We'll just finish it. Bhakti is love for Krishna, and love is the greatest motivator. So if two people fall in love, naturally, they want to become better for each other's sake. So similarly, Bhakti is also love for Krishna. So it's a relationship. So we want to become better for Krishna, and Krishna helps us become better. So it naturally brings out the best. So love is the best, greatest motivator in this world. And what is Krishna's intention? Why is he speaking about all these qualities at the end of this chapter? Because Krishna is showing us that you can say, I'm a great devotee and behave badly, because our behavior reflects our internal state. And we are Krishna's representatives. If, say, for example, if a company's representative comes to your home and behaves badly, you're like, what kind of a... You will never go and buy the product of that company. You'll be like, no, these guys don't behave well. If you go into a shop and the receptionist does not behave, immediately be like, no, this place does not treat us. There is no good customer service. And then immediately we will not use that service. And we are Krishna's representatives. And if we don't behave well, then that reflects badly on Krishna and the process of bhakti. So good behavior makes us an asset in Krishna's mission. Bad behavior makes us a liability. So public perception is behavior based. They don't know how much they don't care how much worship you can do, how nicely you can put on tilak, how nicely you can put on sari. They don't care what you know. They care like how you behave actually. So that's why it's very important to have a gentle demeanor, steady and non-disturbing behavior. And also, bhakti is not just to practice, it's also to transform our heart. How do we know we are getting transformed? How bhakti is working in me? I've been practicing for some time. So now I know bhakti actually works because I have changed as a person gradually. It's not fully changed, but surely I am changing as a person. So that gives me confidence that bhakti is working on myself. And of course, qualities like humility and tolerance, they all support spiritual growth. I will share the presentation with all of you. So if you want to take notes, I will share. Remind me in the WhatsApp group, I'll share the link. You will have access to all the slides. And the lessons that we can learn from this section is, yes, spiritual growth is a journey. It's a journey of inner refinement gradually. It's not just this many rounds to chant. I went to this yatra, I went to this, that. It's not just doing. We are not like human doings. We are human beings. So bhakti is about becoming a better devotee. Also, we embody those qualities, being those devotional devotee actually. It's not just, oh, I'm great because I chanted 64 rounds. But plus, I also deal with people accordingly. And spirituality is reflected in our behavior. So Krishna does not just want us to perform bhakti. He wants us to be transformed by it. And the same thing in a different wordings. True devotion is not measured by what we do or how much we know, but who we become through what we do, who we have become through the practice of bhakti. And that's what makes us dear to Krishna. Krishna is not saying one who chants 64 rounds is dear to me, one who has visited Vrindavan is dear to me, one who likes to actually do deity dressing is dear to me. No, he does not say any direct devotional activities in that list. It's given primary lakshana and secondary lakshana of bhakti. Primary lakshana, primary symptom of devotion is that we chant, we read bhagavatam, we engage in deity worship, we associate with devotees, we serve devotees, we go to holy places, we engage in process of bhakti. That is primary lakshan. Secondary lakshan is we are peaceful, we are tolerant, we are merciful, we are non-envious. That's a secondary lakshana. Sometimes devotees may have lack in secondary. So we cannot say, what kind of a devotee is this? I don't accept them as devotees. No. They are continuing to chant, they are continuing to worship. So they are devotees, but they are not yet pure. So we cannot go to either extremes. So the final reflection exercise that you can go with for this week is, Do I define my spiritual growth by outer practice or inner character? And also, what does it mean for you personally to become dear to Krishna? What do you think can make you dear to Krishna? Based on those lists, where can you work? What can you do to become more dear to Krishna? So, the 12th chapter, we discussed how Arjuna asked this question, who's better, personalist or impersonalist? And Krishna very clearly answered the question that personalists are better. And then he explains why so in verses 3, 4, and 5, that the path of impersonalism is very difficult. And in 6 and 7, he says he also helps his devotees. There is a personal help factor that is available in personal path. In impersonal path, it's just your effort. There is no grace. And then that's why he says, what is that grace? How does it come? If you say grace, if you are a perfect devotee, I deliver you. Otherwise, it's your problem. No, grace means then you come on all levels. So he gives progressive stages of bhakti. He gives a ladder of love for us to climb. And he also gives a ladder of mercy. Okay, if you're not in devotion, then what you could do? And then he says the qualities of devotees that make them dear to Krishna. Because all these qualities actually stem from the devotional consciousness. That's why they are different from the yogis' qualities and the jnanis' qualities, because they all stem from bhakti. That's why if you see, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, the 20th verse, Krishna ends with devotional qualities. They have complete faith in me, they are fixed in me. So he fixes all of these qualities discussed from 13th verse on the 20th verse on their bhakti to Krishna, because everything is blossoming from bhakti. But that does not mean when I become perfect, I'll get all these qualities and I continue to be a jerk. No, we need to actually gradually develop good qualities. And then when Krishna gives his mercy, it will become a full realization. We will completely embody those on another level on the Shrutva platform. So thank you.